Um, Hi everyone, good day, good night. Anyways, it's very nice to see you here. I hope that you can hear me well. I hope you do. Okay, so today we received a bunch of news from the front lines, not only from the front lines. First of all, I would like to say that I think I'm gonna do streams much more frequently than I do. And I'm like, you remember that in the beginning, there were very few channels that would review situation on the front lines in Ukraine, including my channel. Nowadays, we have a lot of beautiful channels, a lot of great bloggers who make analysis on a daily basis regarding the front lines and regarding the overall situation. And I will probably discuss some of the most important topics of the day, of the days. Uh, and I will try to educate you more about Ukraine, about Russia. So, in case you have some specific questions, because uh, Slavic world is still quite a mystery to our Western audience. I think you have a lot of questions, so I will try to address those questions as much as possible. And I would like to start with the news. So today in Izium, a big mass grave was found, and President Zelensky also mentioned this today. It was technically yesterday uh, because it's already Friday here. So President Zelensky addressed this during his evening speech to the nation. So I think that in the morning, probably in the afternoon, we can expect some more news about this, because all kinds of media, all kinds of journalists will be invited to this specific location. And I think that we will be informed much more than we are right now. So what we know as of this moment. So first of all, it's a different mass grave that was found in Bucha, for example, because the one that was found in Bucha was basically a hidden grave. It was an attempt to hide those bodies forever. There were like piles of cobblestones around this area, so it was near the church, and around this trench that was used as a grave, there were cobblestones that were bought prior to this invasion, and probably Russians thought that they will be able to bury those bodies and cover the surface with cobblestones, so they will never be found. Or, they of course expected that Bucha will remain Russian city, so probably they would discover those bodies like after 10 years and say that those civilians were killed by Ukrainian Nazis. The cemetery that we see now is a bit different. Some of those graves have crosses. Some of those crosses have like names. Some have like descriptions. Some of them have numbers. Some have absolutely nothing. And the overall amount of those graves that were found is about 440 in one place, in one area. And basically also what we know is that the bodies were buried separately. Again, it's a different story than in Bucha. And judging from the dates that were discovered in those descriptions, those here, for example, we can see crosses with just numbers. So what we know from the dates is that some of those people, if not majority of those people, were killed during the days when Russians were actively shelling Izium. So apparently those civilians died due to those shellings. So tomorrow we expect a lot of media, a lot of press, a lot of journalists in Izium, and they will tell you more about what they will see. So yeah, of course, together with those graves, we keep finding evidence of new atrocities. So probably if you read my posts on YouTube or Twitter, I was posting about several cases when bodies were discovered by our investigators, local people, for example, in Grakove village in Zaliznichna. They told investigators about like places where Russians were burying people, and those bodies were found. They have signs of being mutilated, disfigured, signs of being tortured, in a word, and they are all shot. So we keep investigating those cases as well. I'm afraid that we will find more of such finds, unfortunately, because we're talking about our northern neighbors. And here in Ukraine, I cannot say that we were surprised very much. Again, Ukrainians were fighting against Russian invaders for centuries. For probably like the first documented battle between Kiev on Rus and representatives of Moscovia it happened something like 1,000 years ago. And unfortunately, we are very much acquainted with the way of them doing business. So another thing that I wanted to discuss, very interesting thing and very important thing. So IAEA board passed a resolution calling on Russia to leave Zaporizhia, specifically the Zaporizhian nuclear power plant. And the board calls on Russia to immediately cease all actions against and at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant and any other nuclear facility in Ukraine. Because we remember that in the beginning of this invasion, Russians also captured the Chernobyl power plant. That was mostly used, from what I know, from what I discovered from the workers, that was mostly used as headquarters for Russian general, because he knew that Ukraine will never bomb or shell nuclear power plant. So this is already a second resolution. The first was made back in March, and it preceded Russians taking control of Zaporizhia, basically. Both resolutions were proposed by Canada and Poland because Ukraine is not a member of the board. And 26 countries voted for this resolution. 2 countries voted against the resolution. Of course, it's Russia and China. They totally support capturing foreign nuclear power plants and use them to blackmail rest of the world. And 7 countries abstained, including Egypt, Vietnam, India, Pakistan. According to the statement, the board deplores the Russian Federation's persistent violent actions against nuclear facilities in Ukraine, including forcefully seizing of control of nuclear facilities. So I think that the message made by the United Nations nuclear watchdog is pretty much clear. So the other question is how Russians will react to this, but I'm glad that this resolution was made. We all remember that there's another resolution that was adopted by the United Nations during the early stages of this invasion that called Russia to GTFO from Ukraine and return all the occupied territories, including Crimea. But unfortunately, because Russia is a very dedicated member of the United Nations, they give zero regards according to this. So, another topic of the day is you probably also remember this this video that I have posted on my YouTube and Twitter, of course, where the representative of private military company known as Wagner recruited Russian convicts, and this is the topic that I would discuss today a lot, because it has something to do with, let's say, with overall Russian culture. So there was this video. Big shout out to Ryan Macbeth, who made his research, and he found exact prison where this video was made. Is located in Yoshkar-Ola. It's in Russia, of course, and it's not like the most eastern part of Russia, but it's kind of far from Ukraine. And basically those convicts and the convicts that are being held there, they are charged with heavy crimes, like basically like rapes and murders. So they were given like briefing about this private military company. Of course, it's very famous in Russia. They're all very proud with this Wagner private military company. Fun fact is that some couple of years ago, because they are not regular troops, I mean, like they are technically they are not Russian army, they're mercenaries. So 3 companies were eliminated during just 2 hours of combat against the American army in Iraq, I think, or was it in Syria? You probably remember this beautiful show. I enjoyed it. And those guys were like instructed. They were offered to spend 6 months serving in this Wagner and then basically have all charges removed whatsoever. And I've been told it was in Syria. So as far as I remember, a battalion of this Wagner tried to take some facility that was guarded by I think Kurdish army, and it was supported by the American army. And Russians were saying what they usually do. They were saying like, we are not attacking, everything is okay. And that moment their troops moved towards this facility. And Americans called them, and the Russians were like, no, we're not doing anything. And those troops were approaching. And they called them again, and they were like, are you drunk or something? We're not doing anything, we're not attacking, we are not there. Okay, so if they were not there, Americans launched their UAVs, their attack drones, their attack C-130 aircrafts and artillery, and basically almost three companies of those mercenaries ceased to be in like 2 hours. You can find more information on that available in Google, in YouTube, like it's everywhere. Okay, and and the main question is like, why was this video even posted? Why was this video made public? I mean, okay, imagine your government, wherever you live, okay? Imagine your government sending official representatives, well, it's like, I wouldn't say like official representatives, but people who talk on behalf, okay, of authorities, to prisons. And imagine those representatives recruiting convicts that were charged with like murder and rape and promising them to remove their charges. Like, how crazy is that? For example, like, I don't know, as for Russia, in Ukraine, anybody, like literally anybody who had charges, who was ever charged with any kind of crime, and I'm talking not like, violating administrative codex, I mean crimes. Those people cannot serve in the army. They cannot be handed weapons. They cannot operate weapons. It's illegal to give weapons to such people because it's dangerous, right? So imagine this happening in your country. Like why did they make this video public? What's the point? So actually the answer to this I would like to discuss with you today. So we all know, I told you in one of my previous videos about those beautiful gentlemen called gopniks. So gopniks were and still are big part of post-Soviet subculture, let's say, and basically like Russian subculture. So the origins of this movement or subculture. It's like it's both. It's like way of living. Okay, the origins of this. My God, phenomenon is the prisoner culture that was developed in Russia since probably like 19th century. So there's like a lot of movies dedicated to this. We will talk about it later. There's a lot of music dedicated to this. So there's chanson, okay? We all know, for example, French chanson. There's also Russian chanson. Basically, the difference between them both is that French chanson is a kind of music that you would like to dedicate to your special someone and have a wine while listening to this. Russian chanson is basically a prison lyrics, prison music, and it's something like very unique. It has nothing to do with chanson. It's just called this way because probably they think it's gonna make it sound cooler. Okay, if you have weak, nerves, don't listen to Russian chanson, or do. It will change your life. So the belief behind all this is that like prison is the place. A lot of teenagers, literally because they've been taught by this culture, because they watched plenty of those movies about like prison, about those rules and stuff, about this way of living your life in like behind the bars. A lot of teenagers in Russia, and unfortunately we had them in Ukraine as well, not as much as today, of course, but we've had them a lot. They believe that prison is the place to go. They like dream about it. They think it's so cool, so they want to like dedicate their life to this. And why I'm talking about this in regards to those convicts is specifically because of this beautiful show that was presented on Russian TV. It's called Штрафбат, or the Penal Battalion. And it was like a show that there were like a bunch of episodes describing a life of Russian convicts that were given a chance to get rid of all of their crimes in return of fighting German Nazis. And so you can see that this film, this specific movie, it has like every foundation used by this Russian world. It's their grandpas who fought, their dedushkas who fought for Russia. It's prison because it's cool. It's like all this blood and gore and crap and guts. Anything that we like to watch on a TV. And Штрафбат, this very movie, it was probably the most popular movie in Russia. I think there's only like one movie that was even more popular than Штрафбат, and I'm talking about Brigada. Brigada, or the Brigade, is another movie again where right, like Russian army men are very, very closely connected with criminal life and prison and stuff like that. So if you want to see this, I would like to show you just briefly the trailer of this beautiful movie. It has, like, you know, those awesome rich cars, tough men, and really nice music, but unfortunately music is copyrighted, so I replaced this music with something that fits the theme. So here it is. And right from the start, you could see those awesome cars. So whenever Russian movies about criminals, like their bandit movies, whenever they show like this criminal life and stuff, they always show those cars, because like imagine a teenager watching this crap, and he like he can see like those awesome cars on a screen. At this point, all kinds of importers, I mean the automobile importers, have left Russia. So you cannot buy like import car, like foreign car. You can basically buy some Lada or whatever. So yeah, let's return to this awesome video. Thank God it finished. So what I'm talking about here is like this criminal life, this popularization of bandits and guns and cars and stuff. It became like part of their everyday life. The So there's this social media in Russia. Okay, it's called ВКонтакте. It's famous because you can find all kinds of stolen music. You can find some porn and things like that. And of course, there's like a bunch of movies that you can watch for free. And like their most popular videos and like search results in general are dedicated to this tradition of entering the prison. So when you enter the prison, when you enter your prison cell, and of course you will not be held alone, you will be held in a prison cell with like 20-30 roommates. So when you do that, you have to make it properly. You have to say some specific word, like it's you know, this criminal tradition. You have to say some specific words Otherwise, they will turn you into into their wife. Uh, and because Russians are afraid of this so much, so the most popular videos are dedicated to this: how to enter prison cell correctly. Uh, I like I can literally show you like the search results on Google. Как правильно зайти на хату and things like that. Uh, it would be funny, but it's too sad to be funny. For example, here we can see a movie that was made, I think, in Soviet times. And this movie is so here we can see this very process of entering the cell, and we can see children convicts, underage convicts. We can see this NKVD officer. We can see like a guy who is being transferred to another cell or whatever. Yes, that's the uniform of NKVD soldier. And those are like teenage convicts. So in Russia, like in post-Soviet area, right? The children convicts and the prison for children convicts is like it's the worst place ever, because they are so violent and aggressive and stuff. And yeah, here we can see that this boy is being transferred to another place or something. Or is it like an interrogation room? Whatever. There's another video where and it's a very nice one, because here you can see a Russian like a Russian convict wearing this this specific underwear that is usually worn probably by their Marines, and that is like their main guy. Those guys look very sad because they do their time, and this guy is numb basically. So he's entering the cell, and because he entered it properly without saying like hello or whatever, because he's numb, he cannot talk, they decided to like teach him a lesson or something. I think that is gonna end with beating. Anyways, so yeah, Karate Kidski. Like there's like a lot of movies. I know that criminal movies are popular everywhere in any country because it's kind of cool, but it's a niche, okay? It's not part of your everyday's life unless you are involved in such things. In post-Soviet area, this is like part of their culture. It's oh my god. So I live in a sketchy neighborhood, right? And back in my days, like every second teenager was dreaming about it. They were looking like gopniks and stuff like that. Today, for some reason, they're gone. Obviously, like some of them had his dream, come true. Some visited the prison, like actually, and some kind of woke up from the dream of reality, let's call it this way. But I haven't seen them around for like years, maybe like decades. Oh, here we can see this awesome karate, this contactless fight that Russian Spetsnaz is taught in their training. Yeah, oh my god. There's like, okay, there's a very specific movie that I personally liked. I liked it because this movie was actually made by real Russian bandits. It's made by, I think, Vitaly Demochko. Let me check if it's... Yes, Vitaly Demochko. And this movie was made by actual Russian bandits. So at some point, he decided that all the movies about bandits and crap that are being shown on Russian TV are not worthy of your time. And he decided to make an actual movie about bandits because he was one and he did his time, and probably he still does. Probably he still continues doing all those things. But he took his camera, like, he has no like cinematographic education whatsoever. It doesn't matter, of course, because if you like what you do, like, you know, he took camera, he made a script himself, and he invited his friends, and they made a bit cringy but still very interesting video about Russian criminals, about Russian bandits. I was interested in these videos like simply because it was more proper way of learning about their criminal life than watching movies made on Mosfilm studio. So for example, here you can see a small episode of this video. I will add sound. Of course you will not understand anything, but it's just so you could feel the atmosphere of Russian criminal life. And this is actually like, usually it happens, like usually it looks like this.
Говори, если есть что сказать. Здесь все люди. Это Юра Ткач, это его близкие. Слышал ли за мной? Говори.
So what you can see here is basically this разборка. It's called Strela, arrow. Some bandit has an argument with another bandit, and they decide to meet in some specific location and solve their problems. And here you can see the guy, this basically Vitaly Demochko, who approaches those bandits because he supports one of them.
Где то, что с тобой был?
Сейчас подойдет. На 11 же стрел.
А он кто такой?
Брат мой двоюродный. Только освободился.
Откуда освободился? Где он сидел? Что такое вообще? Что ты кричишь? Говори, что ты молчишь?
Привет всем.
А ты кто такой? Откуда ты взялся? Понаблатыкался там, что ли, в Челябинске? Приехал порядки с дурацкие устраивает.
So it's like 100% realistic, in my opinion. Again, I grew up in a sketch neighborhood. I know how it looks like. And even despite the fact they look a bit cringy, you gotta remember that they were no actors. They were like real guys. So I think this is basically the answer to why that recruiting video was published, why it was made public in Russia, because a lot of teenagers, a lot of young people can see this as their opportunity, right? Because like they all grew up watching those videos, they were raised on this criminal culture, and finally they can literally become like characters of this Strafbot movie. It's something so cool. Otherwise, and again, you gotta understand, like, they don't care whatsoever that this is made public. By the way, the video was, I think, recorded on an iPhone or something like that, or something with a good camera, so to say. And yeah, we know that this guy, he is a military. He knows how to speak. He has a lot of experience in such things. So yeah, people in Russia love those things. They completely enjoy this stuff. So yeah, that's why it's completely impossible in your country, but in Russia, like, they don't care at all. Okay, guys, I think that it's a good time to answer your questions. There's like 2000 of us tonight. Yeah, and Morten RL says that gangster culture exists to different extents in most places, but usually it's a subculture, not the main culture. That's exactly what I'm talking about, because like it's not part of your life. It's a niche in like music, in movies. It's a niche. There's like different genres. It's not part of your life usually, unless it's about the place where you actually live. All right. Greetings from Brazil, and hi everyone. Live Spring Army. Thumbs up for you guys. So the car crash. Any words yet whether Zelensky car crash was an accident or intentional? So it was accidental. So there were rumors that this person that crashed into the escorting cars and into the car of President Zelensky, that he was something like drunk, but according to his speaker, this person probably had some medical problems. And like, we don't know much details, but I think it was related to this driver having medical problems. It's like going from dentist after, having like anesthesia, something like that. Do you kill orcs, Starsky? Sometimes I do. The last time it was like on February 24th. in Hostomel. It's not like proved, but I hope so, at least. Okay, what do we have here? I gotta have some assistant, to like those popular YouTubers who have like somebody to send like commentaries and stuff. Unfortunately, I cannot train my dog to do that. Imagine being that guy smashing into President Zelensky. Like literally, because this is President Zelensky, I don't think that this guy was, I don't know, that something could happen to this guy. Aside that he was given like a first aid and come on. If I was this guy, I would be really sorry. I mean, but not like scared, like sincerely sorry. I need an enforcer, Matt. That's a good thought, basically. Yeah. Thank you for liking the new Ryan Macbeth video. Ryan rocks. Shout out to Ryan Macbeth. He's one of my favorite. I cannot call him YouTuber. To me, he is a like military specialist. Let's call him military specialist. All right. Can you get Dennis on for a Sunday with the enforcer? That's a good idea, but I gotta ask him first whether he has plans. Also, there will be some very special stream for you guys. You will like it. Your weather is a lot like ours in Maine, USA. I completely agree. I didn't live in Maine, USA, but from what I know, yeah, it's pretty much similar. My favorite writer lives in Maine, USA. I think you know this person. Fooch needs a cat. Fooch needs belly rubs. Because you cannot fight this feeling when you see Fooch. You literally you are being zombified into rubbing him. Are you planning on going into television or some other broadcasting? I don't know, we'll see. I have literally no idea what to do, but I know for sure that I'm gonna travel a lot. I'm gonna travel a lot and meet you guys, because all of a sudden we realized that here in Ukraine we have a lot of friends from all around the world, and I think that you gotta often meet your friends, because this is how friendship works. Okay. Will you be available for a cup of tea or something after the victory? Absolutely. I will, I promise. I will be available for a cup of tea even before the victory. But I don't advise you to come here with your families, because, it's kind of dangerous here. Stephen King from the Castle Rock, Maine. Yeah, it's he's a legend. He's a legend. Um, Sleep then travel. Sounds great. How many tanks did Ukraine get from the Russian land lease? Question from level 70. It's very nice to see you tonight. So, according to the estimates that were made like 2 days ago, we have received 45 tanks absolutely intact. Later, I probably like the next day, I saw another number, something about 150 tanks. I tend to believe smaller numbers, they look more realistic. But even with that, 45 tanks and similar amount of BMPs, it's like enough to arm a brigade, basically. Probably even more. On the other hand, though, we didn't find enough of artillery. I'm talking about howitzers and self-propelled howitzers, so they left anything they don't need much, okay? Anything less important. And they took their howitzers, their artillery, because they know that they rely on those. And of course, because artillery is usually not based on the front lines. Usually you keep your artillery in the rear. Will Kherson have to be evacuated after Ukraine liberates it? Russians might strike that huge dam out of spite of after losing. That could happen, absolutely. So what we saw after this the successful beginning of this counteroffensive is that Russians, literally out of despair, started shelling civilian, like critical civilian infrastructure, like power plants and dams. They attempted to do that even before that. So I remember that in probably April, a bunch of their missiles that were targeted that were targeting the dam in Kiev were shot down, basically on approach. So they were targeting those in the very beginning. But in this case, it's, to me, it's absolutely a sign of desperation, of despair and total sadness. We should do that barbecue in Australia with the shells and some koalas. I support that. Totally. Have you been affected by any outages, water or power? So here in Kiev, for example, those shortages are not frequent, and I cannot say that we were. Basically, Kiev is like a big fortress and is one of the it is one the most defended and supplied city of Ukraine. It's heart of our country. So I cannot say that we are more safe here than in any other country that can be targeted by missiles, but we have some pretty strong anti-air defense here. So yes, we have anti-air defense, but still we can be targeted. But we didn't have like shortages, from what I can tell. Question from Alexander. Чому не спиш? Ну, по-перше, у мене тут кава, а по-друге, літр кави вже в мені. Тому заснути дуже складно. Тому не сплю. Can you elaborate on what is the procedure when you find ammo or equipment that appears to... Yikes, I've lost this. That appears to be in good condition. Any team that comes in to pick up and evaluate the hardware. Question from Benjamin. Yes, absolutely. We have those teams. So first of all, of course, we have our engineers, our D-miners, basically the EOD team. And they have to evaluate and assess all the found objects, all the discovered objects, as well as the area, to make sure that it's safe, okay? Because we know that Russians tend to booby trap and mine anything. There's like a bunch of examples in that school in Hostomel, for example. People found a lot of booby traps. So, for example, Russians have those RGN and RGO grenades. They take like the bottom part of this grenade and somehow stick it instead of like lamp. That's what I've been told by our engineers, who said that usually like Russian paratroopers like to do those booby traps. Though I'm not sure if it's very effective, because I'm not sure whether the explosive that is contained in grenade can go off from the like from the lamp, like using lamp as a detonator. I'm not really sure. So yeah, I think those are not really effective. Poland has taken 2 million Ukrainians into their homes. I think that Poland deserves to be called heroic state. They all deserve to be called heroes. And I think that all the countries that support Ukraine, they deserve to be called heroes, in my personal opinion. What is President Zelensky's reputation amongst Ukrainians now? I'm not a statistical agency. Unfortunately, I cannot answer this question with full authority, but he's pretty popular. I think that currently he's like the most popular person here. Again, I'm a military. I specialize in other things, not in like public opinion and statistics. But usually, people talk positively about him. Do I have friends among Albanians? I hope that I do, and actually, it appears that I now have quite a few friends among such countries that, like, I didn't think about them often, because they're located like far away from Ukraine, but it makes me happy. Yeah. I've been to this to our Independence Square in Kiev. There we have the stela. Let me see if I have that video. I would show it to you. Yeah, I have it on my phone. Let me try to. I'm gonna waste like minutes of searching. I will show it to you next time. So we have this stela on the Independence Square in Kiev, and there are like flags of countries. I think I told you about it. Of those countries, citizens of which participate in defending Ukraine, and among those countries are Myanmar, Iran, and less engaged countries. Of course, there are flags of the United States, the UK, and Italy, and Spain. But I've been standing there specifically searching for less known ones. Let's call them this way, with all respect. And yeah, there's quite a lot of them. I think that probably there's like hundreds of those flags. Actually, more than 100, I think. Okay, so my camera seems to retire. It decided to disappear. Still doesn't work. Let's see what's wrong. Probably it was some kind of sabotage. Anyways, I still have this one. Okay. All right. So, sorry about technical issues. We can add more light. Just a second. Yeah, so there's nothing that cannot be solved. I wonder what it decided to quit though. Anyways. DDoS. I don't think that it's possible to DDoS a YouTube stream. I'm not a hacker though. I cannot tell you specifically. This looks like 1994 VHS quality. It really does. I agree, because this is a camera on on my laptop. Dennis did it. Totally. All right. Yeah, of course, you gotta always be prepared. This is how militaries work, basically. I don't think it's a YouTube, John. I think it's my GoPro. Sometimes it likes to to betray me. Will the damage to the dam near Kherson affect the offensive? I don't think it will. So the attack on you mean the Kherson? It depends, of course. So in order to answer this question, you gotta be 100% sure about the dislocation of troops. I don't think that it's possible to answer this question exactly. It's like Blair Witch movie only with Starsky. It was a great movie, actually. I think that I saw it like 2 years ago for the first time, even despite it was around like for decades. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Commander 401, very nice to see you here, buddy. Sorry about the quality of our video, but my GoPro betrayed me. It was recruited by Russians, by FSB. Okay, let's turn it off. I hope that my current camera will not stop working. Anyways. Okay, so let's answer some more questions. We have like the whole day. You can get DDoSed on YouTube. It happened to me, but you can use VPN to stop it. Yeah, you can, in case you have a nice internet connection. My connection is not the worst one, but it's not the best one either. Is there somewhere that we can send Fuchs toys? Question from Mel Cortez. So the fact is that Fuchs is afraid of toys. So like he's a stray dog. He's a completely stray dog, and like he doesn't like to play much. He likes to just get hugged and belly rubbed and stuff like that. So if you throw a ball at him, he will pee and run away. Like all dogs are different. That's why he doesn't like toys. I tried to give him toys, those squeaking ones. He's horrified by those toys. Is mail system working there? I tried to test it. But like mail system between cities, yeah, it does work. As for the mail between countries, unfortunately, I cannot answer this question. I didn't receive anything from other countries, but the postcard from one of my good friends from New Zealand with some nice words. Yeah, but this postcard arrived to Kiev through Ternopil and a chain of other cities, so it's kind of hard. All right. Should Ukraine pardon the soldiers from the unrecognized republics that are forced to join the Russian army if they join your army? What's your opinion about what should happen to them? So for years, we already have a program for those soldiers, for those people from uncontrolled territories, if they agree to cooperate with our authorities, with our investigators and police, they are set free. They like have like most of their charges removed unless they committed something very, very hard, something very, very bad. I ordered a lot of model kits and stickers from Ukraine, and all the stuff arrived in tip-top condition. Message from Hobby Time. It's nice to know, actually. Yeah, because like I try to assess this situation. Mostly everything that we have delivered to us from abroad is like either brought by volunteers, for example, or sent through other people, and chain of, people and cities. Is football, soccer popular in Ukraine? Question from Sebastian. Yes, it is. It's the most popular game here after boxing. I cannot tell you exactly, but probably yeah. Soccer is the most popular one. It's the most popular sport in Ukraine. Richie MC asks, I'm guessing you speak at least 3 languages, Ukrainian, Russian and English, any other language? Трошки розмовляю по-польську. Also, it's like I knew Italian. I could parlare italiano when I was a kid because I lived in Italy for like a month. But I completely forgot the language. And I also tried to learn Farsi and French, but I literally had 0 time to do that. Otherwise, I would learn. Why no Russian boxers in Ukraine? What will they do here? Ice hockey. We have a hockey team. So one of my friends worked on a sports channel, and she was a big fan of hockey. And yeah. And she was usually posting like photos from like trainings and stuff, and it was amazing. What we need is boxing, soccer, a new form of rugby. So you gotta check you gotta check the YouTube. I think it's still there. The fighting football. I think it was developed probably in Poland. I can be wrong, but I think it was created in Poland. Fighting football. Those guys wanted to mix like rugby and MMA, and it looked absolutely hilarious. Unfortunately, something went wrong. I think that they couldn't make even a single match, but there were like trailers about fighting football. It was awesome. Can I join a Ukrainian football team? I think you absolutely can. Do you have family member in Belgium? I can help. I don't have family members in Belgium, but if you can help me to obtain one, we can discuss that. Bar fight. Yeah, bar fight is when your boxing skills are very useful. So do we have do you have any idea how much the whole world cares about Ukraine? The most cared about your about the most cared about country in the world. God bless you. Thank you so much, Dumitru Claudiu. Yes, I I know I do, because I talk to you guys a lot, and I receive your messages a lot, and I know, luckily. 2 years ago, I would never expect that. I think even like 7 months ago, I would never expect that. This world changed a lot in my opinions. Even though, like, I always thought that we have to make friends, we have to have partner relations with other countries and stuff, and develop through like partnership, trade, friendship. But I knew that, like, I thought that there will be 0 people from abroad who would literally come to Ukraine and fight for us. Because, like, what's their reason? What's their motivation? Appears I was so wrong. I am drummer on YouTube. It's very cool, because drummers are really hard to find in Ukraine for some reason. Drummers and bass players are tough to find. So everybody wants to be a frontman, because frontman always gets all the attention, all the hype, and all the girls, and guitarists, because guitarists usually receive all the attention and all the friends and all the hype and all the girls. Nobody wants to become like bass player or drummer, while drummers are, yeah, they kick ass. Will Ukraine ever forgive Russia? I think that this question should be addressed to Ukrainian widows and orphans. When they do, I will do. Do you play online video games? I play PUBG. I didn't play that one, even though I've heard about it a lot. So rarely, when I have time and I don't sleep, rarely, I play Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's like I didn't fly together with somebody in multiplayer, but yeah, that's my favorite one. A good bass player is always the hardest to find in the US, especially in terms of like metal, because in metal music, like in metalcore, death metal, whatever, bass player, yes, he's like very important person. He brings this meatiness into the music, but he still has to follow like the same pattern with guitarists, like basically, okay. While some bass players think that they have like huge skill, they're genius, and they try to do everything unnecessary, and when they're not required to do that. So yeah, bass player is always tough to find. Good bass player. What's my favorite metal band? there's so many of them. There's a lot of them. You gotta check Space of Variations. It's a Ukrainian metal band. Another one is Ginger with J's. Ginger. I think you know about it. And probably Hell On and White Ward. That's it. You're gonna love those. Those are all Ukrainian bands and Mongolian metal. I've heard it. I've heard this one. I want to buy a house in Ukraine after the war. It's beautiful. Life in Ukraine is very cheap, but the accommodation, I mean like houses and apartments, are not as cheap. Actually, we are among the most expensive cities of Europe. I'm talking about Kiev. But everything's possible. What makes you laugh? Russian army does. They are a joke. Did you check out the video link I sent you on Ukrainian channel? I received your message and I promised myself I will definitely read it because I received quite a few of them, but I read all of them, although it takes time. Did you like Pyatnitsa? It was a nice band. So they made the song called Soldier, and it was written like years ago. I didn't really like this song because like it was about a soldier, a conscript who dies for nothing and stuff like that. But they made a remake of this song recently, and you gotta check it out. It's absolutely awesome. So this war changed a lot in people's minds, and the artist who wrote this song, he made another version of it because of recent events. If I move to Ukraine, can I buy a Russian tank? You can get one for free. Literally. How your rib was broken in the concert. How did you know about it? So, I broke it twice. I was moshing and slamming in a mosh pit at a concert. And at some point, while like moshing and slamming and doing silly stuff, I received some kind of like punch or whatever. I got pushed basically, and yeah, and I literally heard my rib cracking. So it cracked. It was. The pain was amazing. The pain was... I cannot describe it. It was really cool. And then, after a month, because like I couldn't walk normally, I couldn't talk normally, I couldn't... It's like when you have a broken rib, you cannot lay down, you cannot sit, you cannot stand. It always hurts. Always. So after a month, I broke the same rib for the second time at a concert, because after a month I decided to go to a concert, and I saw like a bunch of big hairy dudes like slamming in the mosh pit near the stage, and they were big. I'm not a big guy. I'm like 5'7", 5'8". Like, yeah, I'm not a big guy, but they were like big, like 6 foot tall. And I was like, I was there staring at them, and I was like, should I do that? Then I was like, why not? So I went moshing, and I had my rib broken for the second time. And this time it was really bad. This time I literally felt like, my lungs were full of like ice, like this cold pain. So yeah, it was kind of hard to breathe, and it was really cool. It was outstanding. Manowar, yeah, I think that they were here in Ukraine, uh, I guess, or they were supposed to come here. You eating well? Not really, actually. Not really. I eat whenever I can, whenever I have time, and whenever I remember I gotta eat. Wasted Heroes, I've heard about them, I guess. Vikings Metal. Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. So, even the US and NASA uses metric. Yeah, I agree. Kidney stones worse than broken ribs. That's true. That's true. I know. Like one of my friends had those, and they were like going out while he was peeing, and he said it was the craziest day of his life. He nearly lost consciousness. Your hair looks nice today. Thank you, John. It's because I care about it. Okay. And so no, I think like it's in my other jacket. So when I was in Kharkiv, I think in 2018, there's like a canteen, okay, where soldiers eat, and there's like a small shop, like a small store for soldiers, where you can usually buy some kind of sandwiches and soap, socks, whatever, it's called Chipok. So we've been there, and our guys were buying some Coke, some beverage, whatever. I noticed that they sell like hairbrush, not the hairbrush. Wait a second, let me translate it for you. No, it's a wrong word. The comb. So I decided to buy one because I decided that once in a while we gotta do some crazy, purchases. So I bought a comb, even though my hairstyle looked exactly like now. And I think that I still carry it somewhere in a pocket. Yeah, the question was if if we eat spaghetti, yeah, we do. Usually we do. Usually spaghetti is my breakfast and lunch and dinner. My wife gave me a haircut the other day. Now I call her Nancy's scissor hands. Nice. It's nice to have a wife. You can always use a comb. That's the only thing I don't use, but I have it. Have you seen or met Margarita Rivchachenko? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, it's 4:30. Are you going to join in on the Enforcer for a bit? I would love to. Guys, please pass my biggest greetings and regards to our guys. Tell Enforcer Matt that I really need him on my channel as well. But yeah, I will go to bed. Hopefully. Spaghetti always comes down to the sauce. Yeah, so if you have a multi-cooker, you can throw a bunch of tomatoes, like fresh tomatoes. You can add those Italian spices, and I prefer adding some meat. And it tastes awesome. Meatballs. The best meatballs are those that you prepare yourself. Do you eat potato pancakes? I don't really like them, but they're very popular in my country. We call them derune. Hot sauce with spaghetti. I approve that. Would you put your music in iTunes? I will definitely do that in case I'm able to finish at least 5 songs. That will make sense because like I cannot even call myself a musician while having like 3 tracks. It's kind of ridiculous. Russian tanks make meatballs out of the crews. They kind of do, but at the same time they stink so much. I mean, I don't know what exactly do they eat, but they stink. They smell in a very bad way, usually. So. Hello from hello Manchester. Very nice to see you here. It is often forgotten that Ukraine is a massive producer of food. They feed many countries. Colin Barrett, that's a very good, nice shout because, yeah, as it appears, Ukraine really does feed a lot of countries, like Tunisia, for example. A lot of countries receive Ukrainian grain, not only grain, also sunflower oil and things like that, meat, vegetables, sugar, whatever. But we will talk about it on weekends with my special guest. Big greetings to Germany, California, and Singapore. Blazing Saddles, I think I saw it. I think I did. are you going to chat on the enforcer tonight? No, unfortunately, I will go to bed tonight. This morning, I hope. It's like almost 5 a.m. here. We have Ukrainian grain and candies and even cherry varenics lately. Cherry varenics, oh my god, this is the best thing you can find in Ukrainian cuisine. Like, in my opinion, there's a lot of tasty things in Ukrainian cuisine, but you definitely gotta try cherry varenics. Those are impossibly nice. Those are my favorite ones. They also come with strawberry. You gotta try that too. Yeah, but cherry varenics are the most traditional one. Yeah. Can you teach us some black magic? Yeah, but there's just like one small contract that you will have to sign. Nothing serious. Sign with your blood, of course. Nothing serious again. And yeah, I will teach you. They have piroshki in Ukraine. So in Ukraine it's called. So if you're talking about varenics, they're called varenics, the dumplings that you gotta boil in a pot. If you're talking about like small fried, baked, those things, they are called pyrishki. That's a different thing. But in Polish language, in Poland, those varenics, they are called pierogi. So yeah, it's easy to get lost in the terminology. Sign in blood. Yeah, this is how it works, unfortunately. Fortunately, it's not supposed to be your own, if you know what I mean. Is there any Ukraine alcohol spirits? There's a lot of them. I mean, let me see. Nemirov, I think it's Ukrainian. Again, I'm not a big specialist in alcohol, unfortunately. Especially now. I made pierogies last night. You are amazing. I'm so envious. Perun, greetings. Nice to see you here, buddy. Okay, so cabbage rolls. Yeah, so cabbage rolls are very nice, especially if you cook them with buckwheat instead of rice. So my father didn't like rice much. That's why my mom used to make them with buckwheat, tomato sauce, and big amount of meat. They are fantastic, and I think it's like one of traditional cuisines in gypsy culture. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is. Kazatska rada, that's Ukrainian horilka. I became a specialist on Georgian and Ukrainian alcohol 10 years ago. Ooh. I can only say that I'm waiting for the victory day. We all do. I think the alcohol storages in Ukraine will go bankrupt instantly. Okay, so there was a question about the Russian morale. You can find numerous interceptions that are available for public on YouTube at this point, and we have a lot of them that were made like this this week, basically. And judging from those interceptions, those calls, their morale is pretty much non-existent. Will you get drunk when Ukraine wins the war? I honestly promise that I'm gonna drink for 3 days at least. Can you recommend a restaurant with very good Ukrainian food in Kiev? I can. There's a bunch of them. But like the funny thing is that when you live in Ukraine, you usually tend to look for some foreign cuisine, like Georgian cuisine, for example, or Asian cuisine. But well, basically, all Ukrainian restaurants are good, from what I know. Are Russian troops begging for asylum yet? Some of them do. I saw this video of it was like another interception. There was a Russian soldier calling our authorities and asking about an asylum. Actually, I have another video. I don't have it with me. Wait a second, if I can download it. Let me see. Oh, all right. Okay, if you would give me just a second, please. So, actually, I wanted to translate this video for you and add subtitles, but for some reason I completely forgot about it. Probably because I'm old. Probably. Okay, so here it is. It's without subtitles, but I will translate it for you. Here we have. Oh, sorry. So here we have a Russian soldier. He was not captured, but he arrived to Ukrainian army willingly, okay, on his own. Oh my God. So this guy was a deserter, okay? He deserted his troops. He arrived to Ukrainian troops and basically gave up. And not the one in the helmet, the other one, that one, yeah. So he gave up, and when asked about like where does he come from, you know, he answered that he comes, I believe, from, is it like from Krasnodar? Yeah, he said that he comes from Krasnodar. And then he was asked whether he has some relatives in Ukraine. He said, yeah, I have relatives. My grandpa and my grandma lived in Ukraine, and they were killed by my own army, by Russian army. And that's why he decided to leave his army. and basically come to Ukrainian troops. Yeah, and his grandpa and grandma died because of a Russian attack. Probably it was shelling, maybe something like that. So many Russians have Ukrainian relatives. It's true. So here in the post-Soviet area, we have a lot of relatives. Ukrainians have a lot of relatives in Russia and Belarus. And the tragedy is that people who live in Russia, of course, because they are isolated from like the rest of the world, from the rest of the media field, and because Russian media is so brainwashing, they often fight and argue with their Ukrainian relatives. And after the start of this war, people in Ukraine lost a lot of relatives in Russia and Belarus, which is crazy. That's like, war is one thing, but when you're losing your relatives this way, for example, when your aunt from, I don't know, Rostov calls you and says, "So, how's your Nazi government?" You're like, "What?" She's like, "So, why are you killing Russians?" You're like, "Are you insane?" And you start fighting, and she's like, "You are zombified." You're like, "I am zombified." Okay. And basically, they destroy relatives, they destroy families, which is, in my opinion, one of the biggest crimes. Like murdering people and destroying families. It's something that you cannot forgive. You cannot forgive. Personally, I don't have relatives in Russia at all. It happened this way somehow, but I have a lot of friends who had relatives and lost them this way. What happened to him after he deserted and came to the Ukrainian troops? So I will tell you like what is gonna happen. He is gonna be, of course, interrogated. All his details will be taken by our investigators. He will receive shelter, of course, and in case he didn't commit any, like atrocities or whatever, and because he arrived to Ukrainian troops like willingly, okay, he will be given shelter and protection. That's all. Probably he will be offered to serve in the Russian Liberation Battalion. He will agree, maybe not. This is how it works. What are you guys hearing and anticipating as outcome from Armenian uprising? I don't know. I didn't think about it at all these days. Oh, we have a I think it's my Russian fan, Pinoy Parin. He says, "What do you operate?" Dude, I will tell you a secret, just don't tell nobody. I operate planet Uranus. Let it be our secret. What is my favorite color? Like, there's two, blue and yellow. Do you ride motorcycles? No, I don't. But I know a girl who does. And probably she will give me a ride sometime. Okay, guys, it's... What was the guy? Was the guy that was caught really a general? Unfortunately, I don't think so. Unfortunately. Most probably he was really a lieutenant colonel. What kind of ride? You know, a motorcycle ride. Okay, Ural motorcycles, Dnieper also. Yeah, at some point, like when I was a teenager, I was dreaming about a motorcycle. But yeah, I had to. Trevor Allen, be careful with your drink. Yeah, but I had to learn how to drive a car. Do you speak Romanian? I don't. But probably I would learn it. Probably. Starsky got injured dancing with dudes. I did. Is kayaking popular in Ukraine? You have so many rivers there. I was kayaking last year with my friends on Dnieper. We have a lot of those stations where you can hire when you can rent a kayak basically, and we have kayaks, baidarkas, and stuff like that. Do you speak English? I think I do. Sometimes I think I do. But it's not confirmed. We should donate Starsky a Harley after the war. Guys, I don't like. Thank you so much, but you know, a lot of my brothers deserved it much more than me. Vehicles. James. Yeah, this is the way we talk here. Okay. All right, guys. Since we don't have other questions, There's another one. Would like to try a Ukrainian MRE. How are they? If you're gonna try a Ukrainian MRE, you would like to try a new one. Ask them if it's like a new one, because Ukrainian MRE is like super tasty and super nice if it's a new Ukrainian MRE. The older ones, kinda, I would not advise you to try them. What do you play in a band? I play everything, but like it's not like I professionally play instruments. I'm a composer, so I prefer writing and composing music. Have you perfected the Russian accent for the shields? You have to be born with this accent. It's very tough to acquire. It's almost impossible to learn properly. You have to be born in this part of the world. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight with me. It was a pleasure. Again, sorry for this for the technical issues. I didn't plan them, I swear. And yes, I think that Enforcer is gonna start his stream very soon. I think it's about now. So my big advice is, of course, subscribe to Enforcer and pass my greetings if you're gonna watch his stream. So thank you so much and good night. We'll see you next time. My name is Operator Starsky. Thanks for watching.